This is debunk video number 5. We are going to debunk the suggestion that the two suspect images of the suspect on the bridge are actually two different people. Okay, I actually still hear this garbage. Okay, and we're also going to discuss the dog under the jacket. Okay, because there are some things that you can't disprove factually, but can strongly suggest that it's not true, okay? Which is sad because the people who believe there's a dog under the jacket will take that as to mean, so it is a dog, okay? But we'll talk about both of them. All right, so let's look at the suspect images, okay? Let's just look at this one first. And notice how there's like this indentation in the sleeve, then some folds here. You got this straight line coming down off the white object there. And now let's put the overlay. I made an overlay of just the upper part of the body that fits right over the top of this one. Okay, now notice that this has the same folds in the arm, the same straight line coming down from the white thing. And I'm going to go blink it on and off. You see that? That's the same thing. Now, unless you believe that the two people were at home and they said, listen, we need to have exactly the same folds in our jacket to really trick people, so let's use some epoxy and make a solid fold, make some solid folds so people can't, so it won't change and people will think it's the same person, but we're really two people. Okay, and we'll both put a white thing underneath our chin, and we'll make the same exact buttons on our jacket or zipper or whatever that pattern is that we're looking at there. You see, so you got this and then this. That's the same. So yes, it's one person. There aren't two people. So quit talking about that. Now let's talk about what people claim to be a dog. All right, now you see this white thing there? Listen, in the real world, dogs don't have outlines on them. That's a cartoon world. Like when you're watching the Flintstones, right? People say, for example, in this case, they say that the dog's sideways, but the eyes are right there and right there. Well, when you watch the Flintstones, when their face is sideways, you can still see both their eyes. When when their mouth is sideways, you see both their eyes. Well, that doesn't work like that in the real world, okay? And this right here, I've seen where someone said that's the nose of the dog, then the eyes are right here. This is a paw, the stomach area is right around in there, and these are some legs underneath the jacket, and so forth. Okay, it's just so incredibly unlikely. And let's watch the overlay back and forth. You see how that's just not a dog? Right, this white thing, and actually then it extends after you do the overlay back and forth. I mean, it's interesting watching this actually because you can see on the head here. In this image right here, the suspect is looking more to his right. Then in the overlay, he turns to his left a little bit more. So that's why in this image, the short bill of the hat he's wearing blended in perfectly with the ear flap, and that's why it looked like a hoodie in this image for so long. Okay, then when he turns his head a little bit towards the camera, you can see a little bit of skin there, slight bill there, and the ear flaps on the side. Okay, now just keep looking at the white spot again there, and just look at it objectively when it's blinking on and off. How is that a dog? Okay, and like I said before, all I can say is it's not. I don't think it's reasonable to think that's a dog. I think people early on in the case heard the term catfishing and were convinced that that must be what he did. So then they saw a dog, and they're unable to change their mind over time because that's what they see in their eyes. So I mean, I really think that they might see something, but it's irrational. Okay, because I don't see a dog at all, and most people don't see a dog, and there isn't a dog. like I said, characters don't have, in the real world, humans and animals and trees and whatever don't have outlines. It's not like a coloring book. All right, so if you'll admit, for the dog seers out there, if you'll admit that this is not part of a dog right here, this white object, then I'll admit to you that it's possible. Much like, aliens from Zeta Minor could have abducted the suspect, and that's why we can't find him. It's possible that there is a chihuahua or something just inside the jacket there, creating some of these bulges. We just don't know. I've heard somebody say that maybe he's got on heart-shaped underwear, right? But we just don't know. Okay, so if you'll admit that this white object right here has nothing to do with the dog, I'll admit that it's possible that there is some kind of a chihuahua underneath this jacket. Okay? That's what I can do for you. But this is one of those ones that you can't absolutely prove because I can't see under his jacket. I don't know what's in his pocket. All right? And nobody knows what the brown, is that a fanny pack or is that just an extension of his shirt? We just don't know. Okay? I think that this right here, if you go out a little bit, this white right here is skin on his hand, and I think he's propping up something that's in this pocket. Okay, his left hand is lower, if you notice, and that's in his jean pocket. This right hand's up higher. His jean pocket would be right around in this area, and it's higher, and it looks like it's propping something up. I don't know what he's propping up, and I don't even know if he's actually propping something up. I can just say it looks like that. Okay. I see something white coming out of his. Looks almost kind of like a rope, and possibly, I've talked to a few friends about this. Again, we don't know because you can't see underneath the jacket, but it kind of looks like this white thing extends and then goes down, maybe wraps around. It could be a rope underneath the jacket. It's hard to say. All right, so I think it's not a dog, and there are not two different suspects on the bridge. Okay, all I can tell you is that I am certain that there isn't a dog underneath the jacket. A certain, just the belief that I have based on what happened. The suspect caught up to the girls. They went to the end. He got him to go to the end of the bridge and had him go down the hill. There wasn't any, oh, check out my puppy. None of that happened. Okay. Now, if you're saying he just brought a puppy along with him, that's a little weird too, right? He's just walking around with a puppy in his jacket. That seems pretty crazy. I've heard people say that I got, on YouTube, I'm having a debate with somebody who keeps saying, you really need to look into the dog thing. And I asked, well, why didn't he just walk it across the bridge? Or why wasn't he carrying it? He's not using his hands. They're just in his pockets. He could have carried the dog, But she ignored that part and said he put it in the jacket because he can't be walked across the bridge. It's too dangerous. Well, I can buy that because it is, it's kind of dangerous. But why didn't he just hold the dog? If he was going to use it as a lure, he'd be holding it while he was walking up to him saying, hey, look at the dog, look at the dog. But that's not what he did, okay? And then why would a killer have a dog that might bark or make sounds? It just makes absolutely no sense at all. So reason and logic would say that it's not a dog, and the white portion coming out right here is definitely not a dog, okay? So knowing that, I'm hoping that you'll say, oh, well, it's not a dog. But knowing how it works on Facebook, they'll be so happy that I said it's possible that there's some little dog underneath the jacket. They'll run with that and accept that as truth. When in reality, what I'm saying is I think it's pure lunacy, okay? So, for all you rodeo clowns out there, I hope you have just a wonderful time adding more garbage to the case, because that's all you're doing. All right? Take care, everybody. Bye.